Hi there, Malcolm here with my 295th Booktube video, and today I shall be reviewing The Ring of the Nibelung, Volume 1. And this is by P. Craig Russell. Spotted at the library, said Volume 1 on it, didn't know anything about it, so I picked it up. And in the opening preface, introduction, and what is an adaptation, there's a lot of content on adapting Wagner's famous opera into a graphic novel. I've not seen the opera, I've not listened to it, and frankly I'd much rather saw my own leg off than do so. However, I do enjoy the Looney Tunes version with Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. And right from the start I was put on the wrong foot because the what is an adaptation and the step-by-steps methodology that they used was very, as we all love this particular subject, it was all very pompous, I found. We're all in this together. We want to see how our beloved bit of culture has been adapted to this visual representation, making me, who is, like I said, ignorant about this whole thing, feeling particularly uncouth. Frankly, being deaf along with other things, do not communicate to me via song. I'm just not going to know what you're talking about. And so why would I go and sit for however long it is to have noise blasted at me and expect me to get any meaning from any of that? So I almost stopped then and there. It's like, I don't care about this, but there was enough curiosity. I thought I'd give it a go. And I certainly, when I picked it up, I thought, well, it certainly has Lord of the Rings vibes. And having flicked through it, it has certain Nordic aspects to it as well. Again, coming at this with complete ignorance, I don't know anything about the story before I read this. And to fill in those of you who have no idea what the Ring of the Nibelung is about, it's effectively the story of Odin and Valhalla, gods and mortals, and there are effectively 4 stories told. Volume 1 has stories 1 and 2, The Ring of the Nibelung, and The Valkyrie. And certainly I can see various inspirations that J.R. Tolkien took for his Lord of the Rings were taken from The Ring of the Nibelung. Basically, rune gold is stolen from some water nymphs by a very Gollum-like character who takes it to his underground dwelling where he forges it into a ring to rule over his compatriots who basically have to mine to get him loads of gold, and Odin basically just comes along and takes it off him. Because Odin has been up to shenanigans, he's arranged for a couple of giants to build Valhalla for him, and the payment will be his wife's sister. She doesn't think much of this idea, and neither does his wife, and they convince him that we're not okay with this, and so he's got to go and get this ring, and in doing so he also nicks all the gold that this guy managed to accumulate as well, and this will all be in payment for Valhalla. And like I said, I did a little bit of research, and this all does seem to be very much tying in with the original tale of Odin and Valhalla and all the rest of it. Except he's not called Odin in this, but then the names do change as the story progresses. But like any other god, he's a bit of a dick, and he certainly has no qualms about spreading his progeny all over the place. As a story, I felt it was the most cohesive of the two. And yes, there have been efforts to change the original translated wordage from the opera performance into something actually legible. It still had a very stilted, formal ring to it. I think it could have perhaps been run through the adaptation process a few more times just to make the characters feel like they're actual living, breathing human beings rather than cardboard cutouts. The artwork was okay. Certainly the Gollum type character looked very Gollum-y and was very clearly potentially an inspiration for Smeagol. That was the first story. The second story, The Valkyrie. A man is on the run. Him and his dad were sort of warmongers, and they came back to their village to find it sacked. His mother's dead, lying dead on the ground, and his sister is missing. Anyway, he ends up going on the run. His father is completely vanished, and he ends up at this house where the housewife lets him in and looks after him. And the husband comes home, and he's not too impressed with the stranger in his house. But why would he be? And it turns out she was sold to her husband, who's a bit of a brute. And so these two plot to elope together. There's going to be a duel in the morning where one's going to kill the other one, and there happens to be a magic sword that's embedded in a tree in the house, just because, which has been put there by Odin because this young man happens to be his son. Yes, he just randomly abandoned him while they were wandering through the woods. No sort of, I've got to go back to do my godly duties, or no, he just buggers off, leaving this guy to wander out for himself until he finds his house. And now he's plotting to kill the husband of the woman he's just met. They put 2 and 2 together and he realises, actually, my betrothed, my wife, which he calls his wife already, I mean, they haven't even killed the old husband, is actually his missing sister. And, most normal people would put the brakes on. I thought, well, I'm going to rescue you from this guy anyway, but no, "Ah, oh, you're my wife and my sister, this is even better." And that sort of cements it in mythology, because there's nothing that says mythology like a bit of incest. And Odin's wife is really unhappy about this, because she is like in charge of the holiness of matrimony, and of course she's married to this other guy, even though it wasn't to her agreement at all, you know, she was sold to him. And that Odin must kill his son, because otherwise the wrong one's going to die. And it's all, anyway, which he has to do. And then the Valkyrie, Brunhilde, comes in and speeds off the woman for reasons I don't entirely know. I mean, maybe she's rescuing him from this brute. I don't know. But anyway, she's on the run and has to be cast out from the heavens because of her betrayal, even though that is exactly what Odin wanted her to do. But she wasn't. Anyway, it's all very convoluted and frankly bollocks. Now, I will stress, I went into this not knowing anything about it, and obviously I felt it was tied into Norse mythology, but I didn't know how close it was. I didn't actually know this was the actual story, so to speak, adapted for the play and then for the comic. And so my reactions were very much in taking the story at face value, and I thought this was absolute garbage. Having finished the book and done a bit of research and then learning actually this is genuine Norse mythology, show a bit more respect. I would say it's pretty interesting to have a mythology retold in graphic novel form. However, this was published in 2002. We had great artwork even back then. 2002 wasn't that long ago. And I don't know, I didn't find the artwork that great. Felt very wanting. It was very sort of, and again, I found the dialogue very stilted, very, let's just say it felt adapted. It felt like it was something that was translated from the German, I believe it was initially, into English, and then adapted from an opera performance into something to be read on the page. And I felt it could have done with a few more wash-throughs of the adaptation cycle before it was worth putting out there. That being said, I'm now well versed on what the opera is all about, and better versed on Norse mythology. However, I found it a bit of a slog to get through. I read it in 2 days. I just wanted to get it over and done with. I was bored more than anything else. It's frankly not for the uncultured me, and I could have done without the pretentious introductions at the beginning. If I were to spot volume 2 in the library, I might, out of some morbid curiosity, pick it up just to complete the story, as it were, but frankly, I won't go looking for it. So there you go, there is a volume 1 of The Ring of the Nibelung. Have you read it, or did you prefer the opera, or do you prefer the Looney Tunes version as well? Comment down below, please, but as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things if you want. And until next time, see you later.